This yoga practice is going to be to do some grounding and deep forward folding, which will help activate our parasympathetic nervous system, that side which resists the fight or flight response. So we're going to do this in order to get back to our source and cultivate some hope. And we're going to start seated. So before we begin, you may want to have a strap or a necktie, something that you can use, and a couple of yoga blocks, or if you don't have blocks, a couple of thick hardback books works. If your hips are really tight and you have a hard time sitting up straight and with your legs out because your hamstrings are tight, then you're going to want to have a blanket or a block or something to sit on as well. So let's begin with the breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Feel your spine really long. And simply find your inhale and your exhale. So our breath really knows what to do when our bodies are stressed. For instance, we inhale and then sigh out through our mouths. So perhaps we'll try that a couple of times, inhaling deeply. Sigh it out your mouth. Inhaling deeply. And sigh. One more time, inhaling deeply. And sigh it out. Just come back to your normal breathing. Let your body relax and think about what it is you might need to continue to remain hopeful. Perhaps it's strength or patience or lightheartedness. So whatever it might be, set that as your intention now, and then just let it go. And we'll begin to move. So today we're going to start with the exhale. So on your exhale, curl your spine like a capital C shape. Pelvis rolls under, head drops to the chest if you're able. Then inhaling, tilt your pelvis forward and lift your chest, maybe pulling on your knees gently to draw your shoulder blades back and down. Keep doing that, exhaling, hollowing out. Inhaling, gently arch. Exhaling, hollowing out. Inhaling, gently arch. And come on back to neutral. So right away we're going to start to fold forward. So recognize which foot is in front if your legs are crossed. And just start to fold forward gently, being mindful of the low back, pull the belly in. Maybe on an exhale, you allow your shoulders and your head to drop forward a little bit more. Soften the legs. And then use your hands to push yourself back up. We're going to inhale, get really, really tall. And gently twist toward that front leg. Hold the low belly in, inhale, get taller, exhale, deepen the twist a little bit. And then come on back to neutral spine. And take your legs out in front of you and switch the cross. So on your inhale, get really, really tall and twist to the other side. And settle in for a couple of breaths. And then exhaling, come on back to neutral and gently folding forward, and you'll feel a stretch in the outside of the other hip this time. And again, maybe allowing yourself to go deeper if you can. Remember, you're your own best teacher. And then on inhale, use your hands to push yourself back up. And we'll come onto our hands and knees. So right away, activating the back side of the body, inhaling, take your left leg out, heel to the sky, toes pointing downward. So really strengthening that leg, engaging the hamstring, the glutes, and maybe take your other thumb toward the ceiling. Using your full core to stabilize you. On an exhale, put your hand down, keep your leg up. Bend the knee and then start to draw your knee into your chest. And hold it there, really pulling it toward your ribs. And then we're going to plant that foot in front, so you might want to grab a block if it's helpful. So now my back knee is way behind my hip, just low and forward. You're going to bring your hands to your thigh. Take a breath here. On an exhale, we're going to deepen the forward fold on this side. So lift your hips up and back. Draw your toes toward your knee. Try not to let this hip drop down. You want to keep it up so the hips are level. Feeling the stretch in the back of the leg. So it took a long time for our muscles to get tight. We need to be patient as we let them loosen. And then inhaling. Come on back so that you can switch sides. So right away on an inhale, we'll take that other heel out, get really, really long, activate the leg fully, pull the low belly in, and take your thumb to the sky. Gazing down at one thing will help you balance. One more breath. Exhaling, put the hand down, keep the heel up, and then pull the knee toward the chest and hover there for a moment, really activating the core. And then you can bring that foot forward. This side might feel different. You can use hold the block if it's helpful. Once you get your hips low and forward, scoop your shoulders back. Just make the spine longer. And on an exhale, release. Keep this hip level. Draw the toes up and back. Really getting into the back of the leg. So from here, we're going to bring our body weight back on that front foot, curl the back toes under, lift that back thigh so that you can bring yourself to a forward fold. So you should know about deep forward folds and inversions where your head gets below your heart. If you have uncontrolled high blood pressure or any kind of eye issue where pressure in your head is not good, like glaucoma, you should not do deep forward folds or be very careful. So here my knees are still soft. No social distancing between your ribs and your thighs here. You really want to get close. Just turning, folding inward. Nod your head yes. Maybe shake your head no, but always come back to yes. So on your next inhale, you're going to lengthen the back of your legs and sweep your fingertips under your shins. One long line. And then exhaling, fold again. So maybe you keep your legs a little bit straighter, getting deeper into the hamstring and the hip attachment. And then inhale, come halfway up again. Exhaling, fold. Soften the knees again so that you can lengthen your spine, and inhale, come on up to standing. And exhale your hands to your heart. So we'll get moving, inhaling arms to the sky. Exhaling, forward fold again, feeling that back side of the body get loose. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhaling, bend the knees. Take your left leg way back in high lunge. And then again, inhaling, lift your hips up and back for a deeper hamstring stretch, just for a breath. And then exhaling, we're going to turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. So if you ended up with your back to me, you might want to turn around. So my spine is straight. I can touch the ground. If you can't get there because your backside of your body is a little bit tight, you could use a block. And then we're simply going to shift from side to side. A few breaths here. Come back to neutral. Soften your knees, rest your hands on your thigh. Come on, back up. And turn those left toes out. I'm just going to take one warrior two, get the hip open. So exhaling, take the knee over the middle of the foot, and then take your arms out to the side. Good, inhaling, come on back up. Turn those toes back to the long edge of your mat. Folding forward again. We're going to just gently go from side to side. And then that knee that was bent in warrior two, we're going to bend into that knee. Maybe you can take your other toes toward the ceiling. And maybe you bring your hands to your heart center, just dropping your hips low. You don't have to. You can keep your hands on the floor, hands on a block. And then inhaling, come on back up. Legs straight, windmill yourself back around. We're going to come to the top of a push-up, so plank either on your toes or your knees. I'll come down to my knees this time. Squeeze your elbows in and lower yourself down to the mat. Hips last if you can. So it's good to do some counter posing, even though we're focusing on forward folds. Push your tops of your feet into the mat. Just do one gentle cobra back bend. Exhaling, forehead back to the mat. Reverse your push-up. Curl your toes under. And lift your hips up and back for downward dog. Just an upside down V. Exhaling, maybe even sigh it out. And then bend your knees and walk your feet in to meet your hands. Use a block if it's helpful. And once again, bend those knees so that you can marry your ribs to your thigh. And then inhale, sweep the fingers under the knees, halfway up. Exhaling, fold one more time. Inhaling, arms to the sky. And exhaling, your hands to your heart. I'm going to turn around so I won't have my back to you. We'll go on the other side. Inhaling, arms up. And exhaling, dive. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bend the knees. And take the right leg way back in high lunge. And then we're going to turn all 10 toes to the long edge of the mat. Just rock from side to side a little bit. And then soften the knees. Bring your hands to your thighs. Come on up to standing. And then turn your right toes out. So we're setting up for warrior two on this side, heel to arch alignment. And soften the knee right over the middle of the foot so you can see your big toe. Take a breath. Nice. And then inhaling. Come on back up. Turn those toes back around. I'm going to fold forward again. Just rock a little bit from side to side. Use a block if it's helpful. And then we'll take our deep lunge on the right foot. So maybe you turn your left toes to the sky. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart center. Keep your chest lifted. And gently release. Toes in. Back to the middle. Soften the knees. Come on up to standing. We need to finish our flow on the other side. So fold forward. Come on back in front of your mat in that high lunge. Come to the top of a push-up plank, knees or toes. Exhaling, squeeze the elbows in, lower yourself to the mat. One gentle cobra back bend. Exhaling, forehead to the mat. Reverse your push-up. And come on back to down dog. One more breath here. And then we're going to float the knees down. So we're going to come to Dandasana, or seated staff pose. It's a great pose for grounding, calming. So again, if your hamstrings are tight and you feel yourself rocking backwards, you could sit on a stack of blankets or books. And this is where I'm going to use my blocks because my arms are kind of short and I have a hard time really getting any pressure on the ground. So I'm going to use my blocks. Draw your toes back towards your knees. Back of the neck long, the spine long. Your legs are so engaged and so straight that perhaps you have your heels off the ground as the toes draw back. And then with my hands just planted right by my hips, I'm going to pull my low belly in and inhale, lift my hips off the ground, lift my chest. And then exhale, gently release and just feel the support beneath you, grounding in the pelvis to the earth. And again, inhaling, lift. And exhaling, gently release. Feel that weightiness. One more time, inhaling, lift. This time you could maybe lift one leg, see what that feels like. Big core strength builder, lift the other leg. Maybe you could lift both legs. And exhaling, gently release. And one last time, rest your hands on your thighs and just feel the weight beneath you. Good. So I'm going to turn back to the camera so that you can see me. You're just going to flip your feet to one side, sit on one hip. Inhale, get really, really tall. And exhale, twist away. And releasing. Never miss an opportunity to do a little core strengthener. So rock back on your hands. See if you can lift your shins. Keep your chest lifted. If you don't have any low back pain, maybe you want to release your hands, bring your fingertips forward. Just take a breath. And exhaling, gently release. Remember, all this is just preparation, stressing our bodies in a healthy way on the mat. And the lessons we learn we can carry off. So just twist the other way. Come back to that intention that you set. And inhaling, gently release. So this time we're going to roll ourselves down onto the, oh no we're not, we're going to sit in deep forward fold first. So again, hips perpendicular, toes drawn back. Start to walk yourself forward. If your hamstrings are tight, you could use a tie. Just keep your arms extended. If you don't need the tie, go ahead and grab hold of your feet, or you could hold your shins. So keep that low belly pulling in. Just allow your head to be an extension of the spine. And if it's okay with your body, let your shoulders and your head come forward. So this is a great pose to do before bed. Again, building up the parasympathetic side of the nervous system. We're going to be here for several breaths. The goal is to try not to fidget. Maybe close your eyes. And every exhale, we soften a little bit more. Especially the jaw. Take the tongue off the roof of the mouth and just let it rest behind your bottom teeth. One more deep inhale and exhale. And then inhaling, gently release. Use your hands to walk yourself back up. And just take a breath. Notice how your body feels. And then we're going to roll ourselves down onto the mat. So if you like to practice legs up the wall, again, that's an inversion. You could try that. So that's where you're going to shift your hips over to the wall. And then as you lay backwards, rotate here, I'll show you. You're going to sit up, shift your hips over to the wall. So if you have a wall, or you could lay your shins over a chair, your calves over a chair. But you would rotate your body as you bring your legs up in the air. So this is a great option for Shavasana. So you want to take a moment to find a place to do that. And then settle in. Again, modify this somehow if you have eye issues or uncontrolled high blood pressure. Come back to your breath. And you don't need to do anything else until you hear my voice again. So before you get moving, feel your body completely supported. And then take your hands and make really, really tight fists. And then let it go. And then take your arms overhead. Maybe your palms can rest on the ground, the back of your hands. And again, make really, really tight fists. And then just let it go. And slowly and gently, you're going to draw your knees into your chest so that you can push yourself up to seated. Perhaps keeping your eyes closed. Once your spine is long, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale deeply. Bowing your head to your own heart, giving yourself a mental pat on the back for, again, showing up and taking care of yourself so that you can care for others. And remember that all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. The Spirit in me honors the Spirit in you. Godspeed.